And I believe I even have the automatic start. So it should, once it starts receiving a signal, we should be live, but we will confirm. We will confirm. Let me pull up my channel and see, and just make sure that that's true. Oh, yes, I am seeing us on my iPad. So I'm going to go ahead and say success. All right. So
sweet.
Welcome everyone to the live stream. It is basically TTT Thursday, which is tips, tricks, tutorials, and also Thirsty Thursdays. So I am going to mention, though, we're going to have a special guest today, and then we're going to ask that special guest a special question, which is, what's in your cup? So Eugene, welcome to the show. Welcome. Nice to have you here.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Why don't you go ahead and tell people who you are in case they don't know who you are.
My name is Eugene Capon, also known as Capon Design. I'm a social media futurist, and I was one half of the team over at Glitch, which was the first virtual reality talk show to ever be ordered as if it was a TV show.
I know, that's so cool. And you had some really big guests on that show too, right?
Yeah. We had like I Just Seen,
I remember.
Jake Hopper from Vsauce 3 made an appearance on our podcast. It was fun times. It was better times.
It was better times. All right, so Eugene, what is in your cup?
Well, inside so I feel like I'm simping TubeBuddy right now. I promise you they're not a sponsor. They just sent me a care package of things I'm actually able to use.
We love TubeBuddy on this channel, and in case anybody also wants to try it out, there's a link in the description. I think I am the only one who has this, where you can get 14 days of a free trial, any level, plus 20% off for as long as you want to stay with them. I believe I'm the only one. Other people can get you 30 days free, but not a discount after that.
I need to check and see what I get. Like, I have some sort of deal with them. I'm not sure what the details are, but that does sound like a really good deal.
It is. I managed to get that one. Long story long, but basically I managed to snaggle that one for also like clients that I'm working with for any of like my coaching programs and stuff like that. They get a special deal, and yeah, I sweet talked my way into that one. So
nice.
Yes.
Nice.
But so today, yes, go ahead. Tell us what's in your cup.
In my TubeBuddy cup, I am drinking coffee with monk fruit.
Monk fruit. Okay. Awesome.
Yeah. No sugar for me. I got to be wary of diabetic levels and all that good stuff. And this is 0 calories, so I'm not going to like turn into a balloon at the end of the day from drinking a pot.
Awesome. So now, obviously, you're also in Seattle as well, fellow Seattle creator. We, just to have you know out there, we drink coffee any time of the day. It doesn't matter. Any time of the day, we will drink coffee, fully caffeinated, doesn't matter. Right before bed, yes, we will still drink coffee.
And fall asleep safe and sound.
Oh, totally.
So weird.
For other people, they just don't get it. They're like, oh, I can't have coffee after 3 p.m. And we're like, but
lightweight.
We're just getting started. The day's just getting started. What are you talking about? All right. So today's topic, we are going to be talking about adding fun and personality to your live streams. And I'm kind of excited because I kind of got a little bit of a sneak preview a little bit. I know I saw some stuff yesterday, and I'm thinking that's kind of what you're going to talk about today. So you want us to...
It's definitely what I'm talking about.
All right. You want to run us through the paces of what you want to talk about today?
Okay. So this is how to have a live stream that's both fun and effective. And whenever you talk about live streams, it's usually the how-to stuff, much like Shelly does, or it's like video game streamers. And when you are in the video game realm, you tend to have content a little bit more fast-paced, a little bit over the top. You have things going off, trying to keep your attention. And a lot of that stuff is all pre-set up early on. And it's basically because they probably had a motion designer come in. Oh, my screen went black for a sec. Oh, that's weird. You might like not for a sec. It was weird. So they probably hired a motion designer or bought templates of some kind, put it all together to create a whole brand package that they're using for their streams, and most likely being either themselves or to some degree, usually elevated as a personality in some way, or they might try to be a completely new character outside of themselves. One of my friends, Deputy Geek, does this very, very well. where he has like the sunglasses and the chain and the like Miami hat style, even though I know he's like Midwestern, which is kind of funny. And they're basically putting together gigs to try to get your attention, because when you're streaming on platforms like, say, Twitch, it's very hard to grow early on those platforms. So if you have a great personality, if you are using amazing graphic packages that will delight everybody who comes onto your platform, onto your game and your stream, then you'll probably do just well. So the first thing I want to do is, hold on, I am going to share my screen.
All right. Is there anything I need to do to allow that? Let me just make sure. Tell me if you can't actually. Oh, here. There. Okay. I see it here.
Are you able to see it?
I can see it.
A little bit of a delay. All right.
And then you want me to spotlight it so it's the full screen, or you want the...
Yeah. Why don't you
or actually,
make it full screen? So this is a layout that I did for a stream yesterday. Myself and a bunch of guys, we got together and played Among Us. And I wanted something a bit more out there. So I started with a very simple background. I have a great background in Photoshop, so I was very easily able to make this. And it's just basically a platform to give myself a stage. I then started to insert items into my scene, give it life. I figured it would be great to build this desk area. It's a little bit less traditional than what you might see as far as like sponsors at the top or telling people to follow me. I created a co-host, which is this demon in a jar. I made sure to add a little coffee cup because it's Thursday, and some other accents to just give it life and personality. Once I'm done designing my sets, what I can do is I can go and hit save as. I'm going to go ahead and make a new file. We'll call it Shelly because that's the stream we're on right now. And I'm going to save it as a PNG. That would have this whole transparent background, and this really sits as the basis for my set. Now, I'm going to change a couple of things. Hold on. Where was it? I really want to remove this background right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a solid color that I can just right click. And this will actually help me later on show you guys stuff to do. And I can basically use this right here as a key filter later. So I'm going to go hit save. And PNG, sorry. And save my scene. So once I have my scene saved, I can start building out my OBS world, right? So I'm going to pull up OBS, and I have a fresh scene called Shelly, just in preparation of this. And it actually already has my microphone, which is my Blue Yeti mic, and my desktop audio. So if I have, say, like web pages playing or music playing or anything else that I personally am able to hear inside my headphones, I can allow other people to hear it as well. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to add a new image. And that image is going to be our scene for the Shelly. And we're just going to go in and drop it right here. Now, this already is starting to look great. It has a lot of personality. It has, our little co-host head in a jar. But I feel like it could be doing a lot better. Oh, it didn't save, did it? Hold on 1 second.
The joys of being live.
I know, right?
Sorry to put you under any time pressure. There's none. Just saying.
Oh, that's weird.
Your stuff
really
always looks like really professional though. Like I can barely use I can barely use Photoshop. I use mainly a lot of the time PicMonkey. Photoshop is kind of foreign to me. Like I know just enough to do my thumbnails sometimes.
Oh, I wouldn't doubt PicMonkey. They got some great stuff in there.
No, I love PicMonkey, especially they've made some cool updates on their mobile too. So I use PicMonkey on the daily. And then sometimes I'll do stuff in PicMonkey, download it, and then put it into Photoshop in in the placeholder spot that I have for myself in my templates. I know my limits.
Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on, so we're just gonna do this really quick.
No worries.
Yeah.
And I think it's really cool because in programs such as OBS or Ecamm, different things you can set up what are these different scenes. So you can then switch between them. So you could have something like this in one angle, and then you could bring in something else or a different background if you wanted to change basically scenery or add in another person or do just all kinds of really cool things. And being able to have different ways that your audience can interact or display things, it's actually just something that gives a lot more personality, and it gives that almost wow factor, whoa, this is live, or this seems like it's pre-recorded. So being able to add cool graphics and stuff like this, it kind of just takes all of your live streams to that next level, boosts all the professionalism.
Right.
Yeah.
So now that I have my base layout finished, and from here, this is where I can put my video, I can put my gameplay, I can put any sort of GIFs that I want here in the area. And I'm actually going to do just that. And so the next thing I'm going to add is, I'm going to add some static. I have this GIF that I got from an earlier stream that I'm actually going to bring in, and I can just
that's
resize
neat.
it. And because it's a GIF,
yeah,
or GIF, depending on how you use it.
I know, right? Depending on who you are, how you say it.
Yes. It's going to fit right in the TV.
I love that.
Not everybody has a sponsor, so. Next thing I'm going to do, and I'll take this and I'm going to go filters, and what I can do is Chroma Key.
Oh, okay.
That green out that we had before, and now our static is visible.
That's really cool. That's one of those ooh, how did they do that type moments that this is how you do it, people. That's really awesome.
I also had some fire elements that I was really excited about. Now, this didn't have a transparent background, but that's okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to add it to my jar.
Okay. Oh, that's smart.
I'm going to go back in, and I'm going to Chroma Key
the
blackout. Yeah.
That's really smart. I was going to say, I don't know if you've heard of Unscreen. So Unscreen, you can upload a less than 4-second video, even if it has a background too, and it will try to create a transparent background for you.
Oh, so that is really cool.
It's really cool. Yeah. It's I've tried it a few times, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But it also, if it messes up, you can also export the images, and I have exported them and individually taken some of the stuff. It's a good starting point, and then re-uploaded those to a gifmaker.me or something like that and created a GIF, and that also worked. So but unscreen.com is kind of like that. So there's also, how there's remove.bg to remove a background, or like PicMonkey has a remove background feature, but like Unscreen will kind of do that, or attempt to, with video, which I think is just pretty cool.
So I can actually show everybody a really cool GIF making tool here in After Effects in a minute. I just wanted to get the base set up.
This is so cool. And there's another reason I would have done something like this. So I was going to bring in as a video source my iPad. Now, when I do that, the iPad itself isn't a 16:9 orientation, because the iPad has, it's more like a 4:3 instead. So actually, I was getting the suggestion from someone that what you do is you create a beautiful background with something like this, or branding, or, like animation going off on the side with the cutout in the center for your iPad. And that's just a really pretty way to be able to display it without having all of the dead area on the sides. And I thought that was a really good idea too.
Nice. So when I'm looking at, hold on, here we go. When we're talking about really great graphics for live streams, there are a couple of different things that you might want to consider. And you have your video viewfinder, which is often considered your side-by-side, which is actually what you're showing everybody, right? You and me.
Yeah.
You have your lower thirds.
Yep.
Which is just under here. Anybody who isn't really familiar with the graphic design world, you have your over the shoulder. So you might have a bunch of visual information right here, while you have your main person right here talking about. You see this a lot on the news. And you have your bumpers for like midways or intros. And those are usually complete cutaways. Now, on my streams, I have these animated intros that I actually already did. Or say if I have some technical difficulties, I have the Please Stand By, which actually plays like elevator music, kind of like a 60s broadcast. I got my base internet show for, say I'm interviewing somebody, doing the side by side. And then probably one of my favorite pieces that I've ever done as far as graphic design and bumpers go is my water break.
Oh, that's really cool. Is that your fist by chance? Just curious.
It is not. I have a bunch of stock videos on Envato.
Okay.
I have a license.
Yeah.
And just making it so it's like kind of weird, kind of over the top. It gives you this almost Adult Swim style bumper.
See, yours looks so much more professional than mine. I created something in like Keynote, and it has like it says like super chat, and then it bursts into flames. So
that's cool. No, that's cool.
Like yours is like legit graphic design stuff. Mine is just like amateur hour but it works for me. That's my aesthetic.
You also gotta understand that I've been making graphics like this for a decade.
Oh my God, I should hire you to make mine. God. Speaking of, though, for people out there who are also looking for ways to make extra money, if you're someone who is talented in things like Photoshop or making GIFs or making lower thirds and animations and stuff like that, you can make money as a designer. And there are people out there who are selling templates for basically all this kind of stuff. The people who are making these backgrounds, people who are making these cutouts, because I've seen all kinds of cool ones where they have the overlays with like beautiful like edges around all the people and the 2-up, 4-up, whatever like you're going to see on screen. People are totally selling these as packages for people who are like live streaming or doing webinars. It's definitely another way that you can make money. And not only that, the YouTube integration shelf down below, right below us, they just started on Teespring accepting digital designs. So before, where I was selling my animated subscribe button on Etsy, now you can pick one up right in the merch shelf right down below. And the file size limits are a lot higher than what are on like Etsy. So you can actually have larger zip files of like cool animated graphics that people could purchase. You're like, hey, if you were doing a live stream, Eugene, right? And you're like, hey, if you like these graphics that are on screen right now, we can do them or customize them or whatever, and you can purchase it right down here on this merch shelf. And that's just another way that you could be making money online. So diversifying income.
It's so much fun. And guys like me who are always looking for ways to like cut corners in my work. We actually have a month license to Envato, just so we can go on there whenever we need to find different assets. And actually inside of this, this was an element I found on there. This was an element I found on there. This was an element I found there. This sign was an element I found on there. And the rest of these came from a free site called Pexels, which I absolutely love. All these are copyright free. And
Pixabay, you can also do that too.
Yeah, I'm also a contributor to this.
Oh, nice.
So.
Oh, I remember all those VR ones.
Yeah. And what are we at? 4.99 million views.
That's crazy.
So if you're looking to like kind of get your work out there, even if it's free and trying to get like your face into things, like even like a model or a designer of some kind, using Pexels is a great way to help get your name out there. I know for a fact that my face has been used in over 25,000 articles, newspapers, ads, videos, just whatever they need me for, and all the work that went into it was in one afternoon.
Right. I know. All these different magazine articles. I remember, like, here's another one, and that's something else for other people. Like, we really, really want to stress. And actually, we did a podcast together, Eugene and I. We were talking about how you can be a full-time creator and make, enough to live without having like gigantic, huge audiences if you can monetize and like spread out how you're making money. And one of the things is, if you have like a nice camera and the ability to do this stuff, you could also be selling stock photography on like, was it Black Box or whatever it is. You could be doing that. You can be uploading and getting these images up on like Pexels or different sites where people pay for your images as well as not. Yeah. So, I mean, there's tons of ways that you can use a lot of the equipment that you have and just find other ways to bring in other money. I know that Jevon Dovey did a really great video on, I think it's like Black Box or whatever it is. Okay. And yeah, about how to sell stock video and how once you kind of upload this thing and you get accepted to it, I've been thinking about making a reel and sending it up there. You actually then put it one place and it markets it in a lot of the sites. So then you get like a commission from if people download your stock footage. And if you have the equipment and you have the ability, it might be a good idea.
Yeah, why not?
Check it out.
Even if you have extra 15-minute day to go take some photos, make some video. I heard about a videographer who would take a camera and a gimbal, and on his walks, he would just film the pathways, and then he'd put it up and make an extra $50 a day just using his morning walks. It was really interesting.
Yeah, some of the sites you only have to have like 3 to 5 seconds of footage that's like fairly high quality and not too shaky, and they pay extra if you have like 4K footage as well. So if you're on a cell phone, you have everything you need to be able to do it.
So the next thing we're going to talk about is overlaying effects. So I'm in After Effects, which is one of my favorite programs to use.
I'm scared of it.
A lot of people are very intimidated by it, but I don't think it's that difficult.
Well, you don't. You've been doing it for however many years. But people like me who are scared of it.
I will say a lot of this is very, plug and play, right? So what I can do is I can go to my composition. I can go to layer, new, and solid. And I choose like a green, right?
I'm going to be like watching this obsessively later. I'm like trying to learn how to do this.
And then we can go over to the effects and preset panel, which has I feel like every new version of After Effects was like 40 new plugins. But one of my favorite is Old TV and Bad TV. And it start kind of giving like a static feel to it. You can see things moving around. Let's see. We can turn up the, I don't want to turn up the hue. Out the direction. The warp isn't too bad. And let's see, we can turn up the noise.
And are you doing it as green screen so you can apply the chroma key effect later?
Absolutely. That's exactly what we're doing.
That makes sense.
Yes. And actually, I'm going to go ahead and add another solid. I'm going to actually go ahead and duplicate this. So copy D, it duplicates it. I'm going to remove all the effects from the other one really quick. And I'm actually going to drop it underneath. So say I wanted kind of like a staticky feel that comes in, every so often, kind of like,
a little flicker.
Yeah, like a little flicker.
Yeah.
So this is 10 seconds, and I can just bring it down, and I can hit Control D, which will duplicate it, and I can move it along the timeline into different spots, just so we do get that little flicker. And we don't want it to be exactly the same point. So little in, great. I do want to keep track of what this is, what the hex value is.
And what's the importance of that?
Because I need to know what to key out when we're.
Oh, okay, because you'll do the specific hex. Okay, got it.
Yeah. So what I can do is just shrink this. I feel like 4 is going to make it look random enough. Give a little leeway in there. And I can export it.
Does it matter if it's does it matter? Like GIF or MP4 or MOV or whatever?
No. If you have a powerful enough computer, it doesn't really matter. But you know what? This is actually a great example to use one of my favorite tools. It's called GIF Gun, which
the tool itself is called GIF Gun?
Yeah, it's called GIF Gun.
That's cool.
Which it's not installed on this computer. Because we replaced the old one with this, right?
Mm-hmm.
Composition. Nope. So
I don't think I told people what was in my cup, by the way. I have two. I'm double fisting, and we got water, and we have Ginkgo Cabernet Sauvignon from the Guadalupe Slope in Washington. So this is a local wine, but this is a Gary V wine. So yeah, wine text, man.
How is that Gary V wine? I don't drink, so I don't know.
Oh, well, this one isn't produced by Gary V. This is their discount deal where they text you the deal of the day on whatever wine they happen to procure, and then you you text back how many bottles you want sent to your house. It's fantastic.
Gotcha.
They just send the wine to your house, which is awesome. So I get to try lots of different kinds from lots of different places at a discounted price. So who doesn't love that?
Perfect.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And it's just take a minute, put it in the hopper so it's baking. Oof. And look at that. It's ready to go.
All right. Now you're going to import this into your scene in OBS?
I am.
Okay.
We're going to do a media source, and it's called Static Green. And we can go back and we can find Shelly. Where are you? There we go. And always remember, if you're going to have it as a constant, you want to loop it.
Yeah, for sure.
And then we add our filters and Chroma Key. And actually, I think that's close enough. But every so often now, we should get static all over everything.
I'm looking. I don't know if it's harder to see it because it's a mainly black background.
Yeah.
So I'm like, let me look over the sign part.
Here, I bet.
Oh, good shake, buddy. Big shake. I don't know if this is a universal thing. So anyone out there, you guys let me know when you have a dog or a cat or any kind of animal and they either stretch or do something, you're like, ooh, big stretch. Like if that's just a universal pet parent thing or what.
Okay, we got it now. It's very subtle.
Okay.
But you know what? All the stuff that's static has a little bit of life now.
Okay.
And it's kind of the
point. Oh, I saw it. Okay.
Yeah.
I saw it like I was looking at the chair and then all of a sudden I think I saw something. I was like, wait.
There. I promise. Video sources are great for things like this. And as far as, let's just add a video. Old timey video. Among Us. I have this very old in the public domain Betty Boop video.
Okay. Better be. Let me get hit right after this.
100%. And now
cartoons.
Man, I miss these cartoons. They were so messed up. like people, like if you go back, I don't think people realize just how messed up these old timey videos actually were. But it's great.
Well, I always think of like how gross like Pepe Le Pew actually is. Like
old
timer, like they're fat.
Yeah, hashtag me too. Right?
I know, right? Oh, we actually had a comment from someone, John Woods on Facebook, is saying, how much personality is enough?
It's never enough. It is never enough. In fact, when we're talking about like traditional graphics, while I don't always use them unless they're like bumpers and I use them kind of as more as like transitions to get to other things. There are full packages that you can get online of just preset stuff that has a certain look and feel to it. Twitch streamers always go after kind of the same stuff. Or the same like
some of the Twitch ones are like crazy. They've got so many like overlays and different things like that. Like I feel like it's like it's so much information to take in. Like there's so much like like super chats are going over here, and then all of a sudden like new channel memberships are going over here, and then they have the chat on screen going, and like they have got like so much stuff going on. It's like it's too much for me.
They do. The last thing I want to do is I want to add something that I don't think a lot of people have ever seen before in this sort of setting. Right. And there is a plug, or there's a product called Snap Camera. And anybody who works in the AR industry is well aware of this product. And basically it takes your webcam or whatever camera you have and it turns it into a live stream tool. Look at this.
I know you saved the best for last. This is
absolutely.
I know this is cool.
Yeah. So I realize I'm like looking very normal right now. But before we get into too much, we're gonna go ahead and add me into the scene. Just add my video in. So we're gonna go to video capture device and add existing. And this is just me. This is like normal everyday Eugene, right? And I have my Snap camera tool. And now I have access to between 200 and 400,000 different lenses that I can use for streaming.
Now, lenses are basically the same as like filters.
Yeah, lenses and filters are the exact same thing. So any filter that you use on Snapchat, you have at your fingertips through this application. So if I want to be like a smudge face or an old lady, I can.
Now, people think that this technology is way too hard to like set up, but you have been in like Snapchat or you've been on Instagram, and it's like some of the filters that exist. You're like, oh, it'd be really cool to be able to do a video like this or bring it into your live stream. This kind of like with a virtual cam and snap cam, you can totally do this. And yeah, I'll show some of the cool ones.
So the one that I've been using lately is I've been a croissant.
This one cracks me up. Didn't you do an entire live stream yesterday?
I did an entire live stream yesterday of me as a croissant.
But I feel like it's kind of like the little ears for like a Viking helmet. I feel like.
Oh yeah, someone said it looked like you have devil horns earlier.
Yeah. Or like very.
I dropped my croissant. Oh.
Did you? I don't know if you guys have heard. There was like an entire meeting where someone's boss was a potato, and they did not know how to turn it off. So they just did the entire staff meeting at this big corporate office, and she was a potato the entire time.
I can be one. Hold
yeah.
on.
Yes, I think this is it. and she could not figure out how to turn it off, so she was a potato for the rest of the meeting, the staff meeting, and people were just dying laughing.
Whenever I'm in this, I'm on like say Omegle, people always say like, you look like Annoying Orange. I'm like, no, he looks like me. Or if I'm a croissant, they're like, I want to eat you. And I'm like, that is inappropriate. Please don't.
Now, how would someone set this up if they wanted to have a snap camera added for their live stream?
It's incredibly easy. Step one is to download the software. Step two is to go inside of Snap Camera and make sure that the input for your camera is your webcam. You choose your camera resolution, and you choose your microphone for the input. And once it has that, it's going to bring it in, and it'll automatically apply whichever filter you hit. Now, if you want to use this as your camera on, say, like Omegle or Facebook or Google Hangout, you just go to the settings of that application, and then you select Snap Camera as the camera that it's pulling the feed from. And that's it. It takes all of a minute.
Okay. So this is the type of thing, though, that like I feel people shy away from because they feel like it's way too difficult to set up. But you're saying it's really not. And
it's not.
And it opens up a world to 250 some different filters that they can definitely play around with. And I know they have definitely like seasonal ones. And not only that, if you really wanted to get into it, I know that the software exists. I think it's the Spark one where you can basically make your own filter. So if you wanted to do that, if you know what you're doing, you can. Right.
Oh, absolutely. So at my company, Studio Capon, we do take commissions for custom lenses like that. And we've probably made 30, 40 snap lenses ourselves. So anything that I ever want to be inside of lens camera, I can definitely just make, upload, test. And I don't even have to release it out into the public. Like I can make something very custom for myself and just use it privately through the same application.
Do you have any videos on your channel right now about how to create your own lens?
We haven't, just because that's how we make money.
Yeah. Well,
but our entire
once people know how much work it is, then they're like, no, I'll just pay someone to do that.
It's something we want to do down the road as far as like make content, make videos about, but we just haven't got around to it right now.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember, I think I saw a video about how to do it, and I had downloaded like the studio and everything, and I looked at it and I was just like, I don't know if I'm ready for this. And I just closed it. And that's kind of like the tendency I have for some of those things. Like I did the same thing with After Effects. Way back in the day, I did the same thing with Premiere before I got in and started playing with it. I was just like, and not today. So
it does take some time. It takes a little bit of time to get used to it. It takes some time to, go through and figure it out. But Snap Lens Studio, which is the tool that I use to create Snapchat lenses, they do have probably 20 different templates to use. And you can just start with a template, replace, whatever assets you need, or, update whatever code you need, and just hit publish like it's your own.
Yeah. So I'm going to pause for 1 second, and I am going to talk about, we do have a channel sponsor for Shelly Saves a Day, and I'm going to give them a quick little shout out here. Just so you know, this is what we're using today to live stream to multiple locations. It's one of the easiest ones. So thank you to Restream for being a channel sponsor. There is a link in the description box if you want to check it out. You can also join and save $10 on that. And if you're looking to stream to, basically, we're going to cover our heads here, but any of these 30 locations, you can do so at the same time simultaneously if you do it with Restream. So there you go. That is a channel sponsor. I want to make sure they get a special shout out there. So anything else that you want to talk about before we go into any kind of question and answer stuff?
No, let's just jump into the Q&A portion.
Let's see if we have any. So for anyone who's out there right now, if you guys have any questions about the stuff that you've seen today or about live streaming in general, Restream, all that stuff, drop a comment on it so we can answer. I know that you also use Restream, right? You've been using Restream for a while.
Oh, yeah. We found it on like one of those deal day websites.
Yeah.
We got a license, and it's, man, when we were actively producing Glitched, it was one of the products that we were using to get the show out there to all of our different social media platforms at the same time.
Yeah, it is actually really interesting because sometimes that simultaneous broadcasting to a lot of different places at the same time is actually a lot harder than you think it is. And I am definitely one of those where it's like, if you can broadcast it multiple places and not have to sit there and fiddle with downloading, re-uploading, all of that stuff, it's just so much easier. So if there's anyone out there that has any questions for Eugene or for myself about live streaming, make sure you drop it as a comment. I want to make sure that we get them answered for you. How's it going with your coffee?
I am out. I have like a little dribble left.
I will say I also have my my TubeBuddy pillow back here. So you're not by yourself. I've got like all the TubeBuddy swag too. Like I bugged them the other day. I was like, hey, it's getting a little colder here in Seattle. Got a new sweatshirt. So I tried to finagle my way. I was like, hey guys, it's cold. I don't want to be cold. You have sweatshirts that help with that. Help me out.
I did an entire unboxing video of.
I know. I watched.
Oh.
I know. I watch your videos. Stop now. So, what would you say? Last week we did a live stream where the topic was more like what to do when no one is watching. So, do you have any advice for people who are just getting started with live streaming and maybe even seeing this stuff today has got them a little intimidated? But like, any advice for new streamers?
The best advice I can give is just knowing the fact that everybody starts from zero. Everybody. I mean, like, it's so interesting to be starting out when there are people who have quote unquote made it. But those people had to sit there and talk to themselves during a live stream for months or years before they ever made it or, got to a place where they were comfortable enough to continue on doing it, right?
Yeah, and I know last week when I was just like, when at the very beginning, like there's not a lot of people there, it can be a little terrifying if you don't have things to like talk about, because then you're like, one of the worst fears is that you're going to sit there and have nothing to say and nothing to talk about. But that's why I always like to go in with a game plan of like at least some topics or like bullet points of things that I want to talk about or I would be talking about anyway, even if no one was there.
Do you ever, so I think there's a little bit of a difference between streaming while you're playing because you're actively doing something versus streaming and just chatting.
But that's the thing is like, that's the game plan is you're going to stream while you play. So you're already doing something and then you're just inviting the audience along. If you don't have that as a plan, then it can be definitely a lot more scary because you're just like, I'm hoping to have a conversation with my audience, but if my audience doesn't show up, then it's just me having a conversation with myself. And for some people, that's tough. For other people, you can be like, oh, it's been a half an hour. We haven't gotten to any of the stuff that I wanted to. And that sometimes comes with time, right? It's just like one of those, like, I'm kind of used to sitting here talking to myself or like.
I think it's really interesting to look at people who have made it on one platform and then they try to do it again on a different one and they're starting over from zero again. And they just have to like, oh yeah, this is why This is how long it took to blow up on another platform. Man, what did I do? Well, I guess I'm just going to keep talking to myself until someone comes. Hey, Eugene, how was your day? I'm doing good. Thanks for asking. Raise your hand if you're having a great day. Thank you.
Well, I think one of the reasons that it's so cool to be able to live stream on, like, let's say multiple places. So like right now we're on Twitch, we're on Facebook, we're on, I think, like a Facebook profile and a page, but like also on YouTube. And, you know, so the thing is being able to have all these different places, it doesn't really matter which platform people are on. You can catch them wherever they feel they want to view, and then still interact with them and get comments. So that's kind of nice because you don't have to decide. You can just be like, wherever you are, that's fine, and just join us from there.
Where do you feel like most of your like random viewers come from? Which platform?
Mine is mainly like YouTube and Facebook.
Really?
Yeah.
I because I have those like verified Twitter accounts.
Oh yeah, Periscope
and Periscope owns it.
Yeah.
I get a lot of attention from Periscope whenever I stream from there. Like about 50% of like people I've never seen before who entered the chat are usually in Periscope.
That's interesting. You know, it's actually kind of just as a side topic, I know that I don't know if you've played around at all with Yellow Duck.
Hello Duck.
Yellow, like the color yellow.
Oh, Yellow Duck.
So Yellow Duck has this weird integration with API for Instagram. So you know how Instagram doesn't really allow you to hook up to Restream or other different things to go live. You can actually, it's like a short window of time. You can get basically an RTMP code, basically, and you can add it into your destinations, and it will actually take your computer live stream and it will live stream it on Instagram. But the weird thing is there's so many weird rules about it. Like it times out after a short amount of time. You won't be able to see any comments. You even if it's a widescreen video like this, it cuts straight down the middle and that's all you get. Like it's weird, but it's the only way that I've seen that you can actually live stream on like Instagram from your desktop so far. But I would think if this exists, like it's going to evolve at one point to this.
Yeah, like I've seen a couple of hacks of people basically writing their own code to basically have a workaround into streaming to Instagram. And I feel like eventually somebody's going to catch on, take that code because there are a ton of videos on how to do it and turn it into an actual product consumption.
Well, maybe Yellow Duck did that. I don't know, but
maybe.
But the thing is, it's also free, so I don't know exactly how they're making any money off of it. But yeah, I don't know. I actually, this is just another side note. So I had this because I was charging it. So this is the Pivo, the Pivo Pod, whatever it is. So this is a little automated, basically thing, and you can hook it up Bluetooth to your phone, and it can track you and follow you around and stuff like that. I found out that it has an integration with Restream. So I don't know what's going to happen, but I want to see what happens. I'm going to do this as a test one of these days where I stream through Restream because it's only a go live or not go live. So I don't know exactly what settings is taken into account or, you know, what destinations or whatever. But I'm going to test it out, and I'm going to test it out vertically to see what happens when you do it and have it on Facebook and YouTube and see what happens. Because I am convinced that you're going to be able to do it as a completely portrait live stream, and all of the sites are going to accept it, and just it's going to be that when you go look at it later. That's my theory. That's my theory. But I got to test it out. But like I said, I just charged it, and I was thinking about the Restream integration. I'm like, I should test it, so I'm going to test it and see what happens.
Have you ever tried to use one account to piggyback off another yet?
No, tell me more.
So there was an instance where a bunch of us were trying to get one stream out to like more than one account, but we didn't want to have to pay for the extra RMTP.
Yeah.
Because it's way more expensive than just like the base product. So we sent one stream to another Restream account to piggyback off of them, so we could have like, instead of, you know, one YouTube account, 2 YouTube accounts versus, you know, 1 or 2 Facebook accounts, we could get like 4 and 6. And
well, I wonder what they do with that as well, because I had accidentally done, I think it was last week actually, I had set it up and I did restream all locations, but I had made the mistake before where I had put in all these different destinations, so like multiple of my YouTube channels, including my RTMP for my scheduled program and my regular just go live. And so when I went back later, I had 3 live streams of the same that had been pushed out, and I was like, oh, Shelly, you're so stupid.
On the same account? Like,
yeah. So on my Shelly Saves the Day, I had 2 different live streams, one from the scheduled event and one just like go live random. And then I also had one on like, I think it was my vlog channel. Like, and then so I was just like, oh my gosh, because I'm gonna get dinged for like so I had to go and delete those other streams. But I had views on all these 3 different like videos, and I was just like, oh my gosh, I'm so dumb because I forgot to hit the undo all. But these are the things that you learn when you're live streaming people. Like, you don't know until you test it, you try it.
I'm really I wonder why YouTube hasn't created a combined video feature where it's like, oh yeah, these 3 videos are identical, here are all your views from all 3, let's just combine all of them and you just get one video,
right?
All the views are up on there.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. And you know, if Instagram has recently done, I don't know if you've played with this much, but if you have multiple Instagram accounts, now you can do to like post to multiple Instagram accounts, as long as it's not a carousel or like if it's a single post, you can take your same Instagram post and put it on like 4 or 5 different Instagram profiles. And it will just repost it like it's a native post with all the same like description and hashtags and everything. But it won't push it to Facebook. It's like an either or type thing, you know, all the different buttons that they have.
Are you talking about live streams specifically?
No, I'm talking about like actual like grid posts.
Okay.
Yeah, on Instagram.
I use Social Key to basically set up a week's worth of like content.
Oh yeah.
And then I can just leave it, and then it'll like give me a notification on my phone, be like, "Time to post, Eugene. Time to get it out there." I'm like, "It's 6 in the morning. Leave me alone. Get it out there."
So I think I do want to come back to when you are first starting to learn how to live stream. A lot of the time, you really want to get used to the fact that like there may not be a lot of people there. There may be like 1 or 2 or 0 people there. But when people are there, you want to make sure you acknowledge them, you interact with them, because the point of a live stream is to like use it to build community more than anything. And it can be a really great way to like build up your watch hours and stuff like that. All that is true. But if that one person who comes into your live stream doesn't get acknowledged, doesn't get like any kind of interaction high from being there with you, they're not going to want to come back to your next live stream, and they're not going to invite a friend or whatever it is. So I think all these people who come in and be like, oh my God, I would be a Twitch streamer and there's going to be like 500 people on my stream. Like, one day, but one day, but day 1, let's go with 0 / maybe 1. What are you going to do to make that person feel special when they come in? So having a plan for not only how are you going to interact with the people that come in, but like, how are you going to do a live stream when there's no interaction? If you're thinking that that's the interaction is going to drive what the topic is going to be that day or how the conversation is going to go, that's not going to usually end up very well for a lot of the brand new streamers. And I just wish I could give that advice to new streamers at the very beginning, is to, you want to make sure you start with a plan, you know, have something to talk about, have something to say. And no one says it has to be a 5-hour live stream. If you can get out what you need to and get the information out in 5-10 minutes, it doesn't mean you have to wait for someone to show up to say like, hey, what's up? You can just end the live stream. You don't have to stay on. So
I think it's really funny. There are also different ways of like self-marketing said stream to try to get people in there. I mean, if you have like Twitter, if you got Facebook, if you have friends who like to watch you, maybe just hit them up. Be like, hey man, I'm going to be live streaming. Come and hang out with me so I'm not bored. You know, what are you up to? You're in COVID probably, right? You're probably just sitting at home watching Lost for the 30th time, right?
Yeah.
Come hang out with me. Let's have a conversation while I play video games. Maybe you co-stream with me. Yeah. Maybe you stream separately, but we have a Discord channel open where you and I can, you know, keep each other company while we're streaming, right?
See, and this is all comes down to like having a plan and not having it be just completely spontaneous. So you guys may have seen like when we were when I was prepping for this one, not only does it now say on my banner that live streams are on Thursdays, but like I put out a tweet that has, you know, the picture of the thumbnail with Eugene and I on it and being like, hey, we're going to be streaming like a day in advance, maybe let people know. Or if I was really on top of it, I would have sent out another tweet beforehand, or like as I'm about to, you know, go live, or right after we started. And, you know, we put it on the community post, or you put it on Facebook, or you tell people about it. And that is how you start to have streams where people know about it. And then if you have a specific time, like from now on, it's going to be Thursdays at 5:30. Once you start to get that ingrained in people, then they know. But if you just are just randomly going live and people happen to catch you or not, you're going to have a hard time being able to consistently get an audience who's going to be there to watch you.
Do you feel like starting from zero is the hardest thing about streaming? Would you say that's like the emotional pressure of it, or the technical setting it up, or trying to find your voice in the whole thing, either visually or as personality?
I think one of the things that gets really difficult about live streaming is that when you're doing a normal recorded video, anytime you mess up, which anyone who's made a video for YouTube, we mess up a lot. We say too much, or we say crap when we're not supposed to, or there's a lot of cutting. And so what you see is the highlight reel when it comes to the video, because we've edited the crap out of it and we've taken out a lot of the mistakes. And if you knew how many times I did a specific intro because I can't remember that my name is Shelly or whatever, like something stupid. Have I messed up my own name? Oh, so many times. There's a file folder of just mistakes for my name. But I think one of the things that really drives people like to the fear of not being able to live stream is once you have that mistake, they don't know what to do in the moment to just keep moving on. They like dwell on it. They flub up their line and they're like, do I start over? I'm so embarrassed. I don't know what to do. And that fear of like looking bad or stupid or being on the spot or whatever it is, and like coming off as not polished is, I think, what keeps so many people from doing any kind of live stream. Or like what happens if your mic messes up, or like, you know, we can't get the video on screen. So I don't know if you guys know this, but we started a minute or two late, but it was also kind of, we were planning to go live with one specific software program, and then turned around and we're like, oh wait, let's try it with this software program. Turned around and we're like, oh, let's try it with a different like link. And all of that is going on behind the surface. But when we come on, we're like, hey guys, we're ready to go. So even as long as you are 10 years later, 20 years later, there's always still weird stuff that's going to happen. It's just that the inexperienced streamers usually will freak out and like turn the live stream off or not want to do it. And the other people are like, hang on, guys, we got this weird mic thing. And then they're going to like work through it and they don't mind. I feel like the longer you've live streamed, like the more you're okay with like almost silence, like some dead air. And dead air, like when you're younger, a baby streamer is just one of those things like, no, it's like the worst. It's like the worst thing you can think of is like, oh my God.
I do feel like the dead air will like affect people differently at different levels. Like some people absolutely hate it. They freak out. It tears them apart, be like, oh man, no one's here, blah, blah, blah. And they get in their own head, versus other people like myself who are like, I'll bring it on. Let's do this. I'm not bored.
And that's the thing.
I'm with myself. Come on.
It's like, well, especially in the beginning when you're by yourself, you're like, I'm gonna figure this out. Give me a minute or whatever. And like, it's fine. And you're just a little bit like more ready and like mature about like everyone flubs up, everyone messes up or has like weird setbacks or kind of mistakes. It's just, I feel like the newer streamers freak out like, holy crap. Like if that happens, like they just freeze and they can't do anything. You know what I mean? So.
I did like how we like, when eCams wouldn't work with Lens Studio, because that was part of the presentation that I was getting, and that was causing the issue. Beforehand, you and I, there's no way you and I were going to know that issue was going to show up, because, you know, we've never used the two together before, right? But it was almost instantly, we're like, okay, we know what the problem is. We know what the connection is. You had a backup instantly, like, well, okay, we'll just use this. And away we went. It was so flawless.
Yeah. Well,
Shelly,
thank you.
You're a pro.
Thank
Shelly,
you for that.
Pro.
Live streaming pro here. No, that's the thing is I think that when you're in the moment, sometimes if you're a new streamer, you can't think through the chaos. You're like, you can't think of like, okay, what's the next thing I can do? It's just like, holy crap, I'm so embarrassed. Like I should just shut it off. It's like, okay, well, this doesn't work. Let's try this. Well, that didn't work. Let's try this. And so I think that's maybe some of the difference, because like, I think the more that you stream, the more you're just like, yeah, the mic's gonna go out. All of a sudden, the camera dies. Like you're gonna switch and you're gonna tell people, hold on, we're gonna get it fixed. And like those technical difficulties aren't like stream ending. They're just like a bump in the road, and you're just like, okay, what's the next backup? What's the next best thing? And I think that is the harder thing to do that you don't get until you stream, until you do it, until you run into those issues, and then you're like, oh yeah, but the last time this happened, then this fixed it, or whatever it is, right? Because if you're a new streamer and you have a guest and you're like, oh, the program doesn't work, what are we going to do? And you're just like, cancel the stream. You know what I mean? But like a more experienced streamer is just going to be like, let's find another way. Yeah. You're like,
no, it's definitely like an attitude thing. And I almost encourage things to mess up that way because that's the best way you learn from them.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah, totally. And I feel like, oh yeah. And if you don't have those mess ups, you don't know what you're like under that kind of pressure, you know? And like the last thing you want to do is find out what you're like and have it not be good when a lot of people are watching way down the road.
What was like the most extreme version of that you've ever had?
That I've had?
Yeah. Well, things not working, going your way.
Well, I mean, not even, I have problems all the time. Last week, I was live streaming for a good 5 minutes by myself because with the scheduled event, you, if I didn't have the go live button already enabled with like the automatic start, I forgot about that double live button, you know, where like when you're streaming. So like, I was streaming, talking to myself for a good 5-6 minutes before I realized there was another button I had to push that actually was like, actually go live. Like I was just doing a preview window. I never actually went live. So, I mean, so I'm saying like, even last week I made mistakes and then I finally came on and I was like, yeah, I'm late because I'm doing all this again. I'm doing my own intro again because I was streaming to myself. So
we had this, we were doing this really big live show at a convention, and we paid for a booth and stage time and everything else. And the day before we got there, we were getting ready to, we were like packing up. We were getting ready to, you know, head on out later today to go catch a flight to the event. And we got a phone call. They were like, hey, this is the internet guys for the convention that you guys are at. How much internet for your show did you need?
I think I remember you telling me about this story. Yes.
And I was like, oh, we need like 40 megabytes up, 40 megabytes down because an NVR show. And he went, oh, okay, I'll be right back. 5 minutes later, because he's like, hey, for that much internet, we need a check for $50,000 for 1 hour. And I was like,
excuse me, what?
What? No, that was supposed to be included in our contract. And so basically we had to pull some strings and get a much, much bigger brand to basically save us. So shout out to Intel.
Yeah. And that's the thing is like some of these things they just happen. And a lot can be, I don't think I've ever been to a live stream shoot, whether it was with TubeBuddy, like when we do the big roundtables at Vid Summit, or Women of YouTube one, or whatever it is, where someone's not having some sort of or the stream itself isn't having some sort of technical issue. And it's just like every single time. I don't think I've ever been on a single stream where it's been 100% perfect ever. Just period.
That's the nature of the business.
Yeah, that's the nature of the business. And I just want people out there to know that like nothing is ever going to be perfect. I have been in the middle of live streams, like talking about different things on the TubeBuddy channel where it just randomly cut off. Just randomly. I don't know if you remember, but like sometimes when you were going through like YouTube Studio, it would just randomly shut off live streams. And I remember it happened like a few times, especially to like Daniel Batal, but like it was my turn. And I was just like, I was on a roll, people. It just cut me off completely. But like, what do you do? You know, you just like, yeah, what do you do? It's just, you know,
you accept it, you go on to the next one.
Exactly. Right? You move on to the next one. So if there is something that I can stress is that mistakes are always going to happen. It's always going to be inevitable. And being able to deal with that kind of ambiguity / don't freak out in the moment. Just be like, what's the next best thing I can do is the best like life lesson that I can give to anyone who's a streamer, period. That and have an agenda or something that you want to like cover or do. So, any advice that you would say about that?
Don't sweat the small stuff. That's all it is.
That's perfect.
Anything that goes wrong, you'll pick it up. You'll do it better next time. It doesn't matter. Besides, if you mess up early on and no one's there.
Oh yeah.
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. Yeah. It's all a life lesson. You learn or you live, or like whatever it is. You always live, whatever, until you don't.
And then in 10 years, you'll be where Shelly and I are. Right?
In 10 years, maybe I'll be where Eugene is. I'll be like, look at my little rinky-dink little like animations for, and then go look at his like beautiful masterpieces, and I'll be like, I am an amateur.
Like, I love your stuff.
There's a certain homegrown quaintness about it. Yeah, I know what you're about to say, which is like tech speak for like, oh, you're cute, you tried. It's like, oh, you're good try. I get it. That's where I am in life. But
you also have to understand I came from different backgrounds. You came from like more of an engineering background. Like my intro to like my career was working on a movie as a VFX artist.
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah.
By the way, if anybody out there wants to hear more about the story of like Eugene, his history, anything like that, we did a podcast episode. It's up on not only my podcast, you can find it, which is Shelly Saves the Day, but you can also find it. I did Shelly Saves the Day podcast as a YouTube channel where the audio is now ripped out, and you can at least watch it there as well if you want to. So we did an entire interview and we talked all about his experiences as a YouTuber and his beginnings and movie stuff. So if you want to listen to that episode, I will come back and I will drop a link to that episode and video as well. So go check it out.
That was part of your Podmas, right?
It was Podmas, yeah. That was. If you guys didn't know, Podmas, it was 1 year ago. We did a podcast episode every day in December up through Christmas. And I think I even did a few extra after that. I remember we talked during that one and you were talking about like, wow, if you actually complete Podmas, like you'll have more episodes than we will or something like that at the time. And I remember at one point, because I was doing it, the things that we learn in a year, actually, if you want to talk about, it's so funny because I have now since transferred my podcast to Anchor. So I'm on Anchor now, but before I was actually doing it on my own WordPress site. So I had a site and I was trying to upload all of my audio files to that and then sending that out as part of my RSS feed. And one day it just would not upload my episode. Like, oh, no. Period. Just, it would not upload. And I was trying all these things like FTP in the back door. I was trying like it would not recognize it. And I'm like, I don't know what to do. And I remember just being like, it's one of those things like a live stream when it goes wrong. Like, what do you do? What's the next best thing I can do? Try FTP. What's the next thing when it doesn't recognize it? Try something else. And it was thing after thing after thing where I was like trying to get this thing to recognize my audio file that I'd uploaded. And I was already pissed at this point, but it's the whole story. I might have talked about it on my Podmas episodes, but like sometimes you just got to do what you got to do. Next best thing, move on, keep going.
I love Anchor, especially since like Spotify bought because now we have advertising and you can actually make money directly from Anchor now.
Yeah, I got to say, I've done a very poor job of being consistent, which is bad. It's all the things that people tell you, if you want to do good things, actually be consistent. I'm a poor example of that, but I have a podcast. I think the last one I did was an episode with Daniel Batal, and it was actually, I was doing an interview on his channel, and I was like, if you're not going to take the audio from this, because it was on his channel, I'm like, can I just have the audio and I'm going to rip it out and I'm going to make a podcast episode out of this? And that's one of those things too, where once you start like collabing with friends or doing anything like that, where you can repurpose your content, I was like, oh my God, I'm going to take this, I'm going to do this, or like take those quotes and put them up on websites or make graphics out of them. And you can do that if you think about distribution smartly later on. But I remember that was just a fun little thing. And that was my latest episode. And I think it's actually one of my highest listened to episodes. But that's not saying much. I think like my viewership is like 20 people.
Like 2 months ago, I was on Omegle. And I was, hanging out, just talking to people. And I ran into this guy who was like, we were talking and we were about to hang up, go to skip the next person. He goes, hey man, I really like your DJI hat. I was running a DJI hat. do you own a drone? And I was like, I don't. It was actually part of a sponsorship deal that I got when I was at VidCon. If you go to VidCon, there's a second VidCon for all the famous people. I was at that one. Yeah.
It was not a good one. Although one of these days we should talk about the time when I snuck into the after party at VidCon.
You snuck in.
You helped me sneak into the after party at VidCon with like the bracelets and everything.
That's what friends are for.
That's right. We went to this party and just, I think we're going to have to, I think it's on a podcast episode, but basically we snuck into this party. I got this bracelet. And when they were like ID, I thought they were literally going to kick me out of this party, but they were just making sure I was 21 because there was alcohol at the party. And then they let us in the party. I remember being a little bit scared and a little bit terrified. That was a fun time though.
Anyways, before I forget, I was on Omegle and him and I were talking and got into, he was like, sponsorship, are you a YouTuber? I was like, yeah. And I was like, are you a YouTuber? He goes, yeah. And we start talking and it was this guy named TJ Hall who has a YouTube channel with over,
I know that name.
Yeah, he has over 100,000 subscribers. He makes like football mad content and now he's moving into vlogs.
Okay.
But anyway, I didn't know he was recording the whole time. And we had a 4-minute conversation about like how to improve your YouTube channel, how to get more views, how to like do the shift. Because he was talking about moving away from more football content to more like live stuff, more like David Dobrik or, whoever else. And I was like, well, if you do that, you're going to lose a huge chunk of your audience. It's probably going to be a very slow burn for you to be able to get back to critical mass. And he goes, but it's going to make me happy. I'm like, then dude, do it. But anyway, at the very end, I was like, dude, were you recording? And he goes, yeah. I'm like, he goes, I'm not going to use this. I'm going to maybe borrow a clip from it for a whole video. I'm like, send it to me. And I posted and I re-edited that whole section, put it up as a video on my channel, ripped the audio and made a podcast.
Right. And that's the thing is people can be like one piece of content does not have to live as one piece of content. That's one of the biggest things that I always try and tell people is like repurposing, ripping out small pieces, making brand things for Instagram, making like audiograms. I mean, there's so many different ways that you can take one piece of content and turn it into like 20 different things, a blog post or captions and all of that kind of information. It's all available. And so for a lot of the people who are always like, I can't produce X amount of content, I'm like, great. Can you do one and then rip it into 30 pieces? It's very strategic on how you can do this. There's totally a way.
If anybody's interested, I have a website called hightechinfluencer.com and I have a free ebook on it called
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's called Get Serious About Social Media. And it's just like an 8-page ebook, but it talks about the proper distribution method on how to take one piece of base content and turn it into like a Tumblr, Medium, and a Blogger post. And you rip the audio, you put it on Anchor FM, and you send out to a bunch of other places.
And that's the thing.
It just goes through the entire method. So suddenly you take one piece of base content that you have, is say like a talking head video, and you suddenly have 40, 50 pieces of content, right? And
it's absolutely not out of the realm of possibility for that to be a thing. And in fact, if you're also looking for anyone else out there watching, there is in any of my video descriptions, you should be able to find it, but especially in the How to Start a YouTube Channel the Right Way series, there's an ebook that I created that's basically Success in the Eyes of YouTube, which is the IZE of YouTube. And you'll see what that is when you watch the videos that correspond with it. But you can download that for free. And one of the chapters is about distribution, about how after you publish your video, your work is really just beginning, because a lot of people think that's the finish line. And I'm like, no. We're just getting started. You got to do stuff now with it. So that's definitely, yes.
I love talking to kids who are like, probably between the ages of like 15 and 19, because they're like, I want to start a YouTube channel. How do I do this? And I'm like, well, it's 7 years before you start blowing up. And they're like, God, that's so much time. And I'm like,
time's going to pass anyway.
You know Mr. Beast? Yeah. Nobody watched him for the first 7 years he was out there.
MKBHD, no one watched him for his first 100 videos, 100 videos to get 100 subscribers, And I had put a tweet out the other day. It's so funny because every once in a while you just put a little nothing comment out into the universe and people are just like interact with it. And I had put that everyone thinks being a YouTuber is so easy. You just turn on a camera and you work for half an hour, like a week. And like, how come it's so hard for people to be consistent? And I always say, if you think that, try it. You know, try and be a YouTuber, try and be consistent, try and put out the content. And I think that people are they really love the end result and what they see, the glitz, glamour, lots of subscribers, but they don't realize it's so much work. It's so much work. And so to anyone, I would say, try it. If you think it's so easy, if you think that we do nothing for our money, if you think that, you know, that's true, prove it by creating a channel, you know. And there's so many people now that are like, my kid just wants to be a YouTuber, as if that is the end all be all. And I'm like, to do what? What is the next thing? What's the goal with that? To have influence without any like ambition behind it, as in like to be famous only for being famous is like, what?
What is that?
Hold on.
Did you see that clip? That girl who was absolutely just ragging on her fan base
about not buying her t-shirts.
Yeah, or like if you have $5 to eat, you have $5.
Oh, that's the Twitch streamer. Yeah, there's some definitely entitled people out there where it's like, I'm not going to start this stream until I got blank new subscribers, or I'm there. So that was one girl. And then there was another girl on Instagram as an Instagram influencer who said that she has like 300,000 followers, but like she couldn't sell 10 t-shirts. And like she was like basically yelling at her followers. And I'm like, you don't have real influence. You know what I mean? Like you have fake vanity metrics. It's so different. It's a different thing. And that's what I'm saying. People.
Fake vanity metrics. I love that.
Right, because it's like
I've never heard it called that way.
That's what it is. I can go out tomorrow and spend $100, and tomorrow I'm going to have 100,000 followers on Instagram. It doesn't mean when I release a product that people are going to buy it. That's the difference.
Absolutely not.
You know what I mean? And that's why, like, I wish brands and everyone also realize that just because someone has a certain subscriber number or anything like that doesn't mean that they have real influence. Doesn't mean that they have a real connection with their community. Doesn't mean that the micro influencer with, it's a stupid term, but the person with 500 like subscribers that are truly loyal to that person, they're going to sell just as much or more than the people with, you know, 50,000 subscribers. But that's the one they want to focus on because the only number they look at was the 50,000. You know, it's really disheartening. So.
Same page, Shelly.
I know, same page, man, same page. So I know we're over time, so I don't know if you have to jet, or if you have any parting words of wisdom that you want to give people.
Again, don't sweat the small stuff. Experiment as much as you can, because that's the best way to learn. And new things are always going to be popping up. As soon as you find them, play with them and get used to them. I mean, how many streams is Shelly going to have where I'm a croissant?
I don't know. That still cracks me up, though. I'm trying to convince Eugene to make a channel where it's called From the Bread Basket, where he's just different like pastries and like trying to have like accents that go along with it. So
look at this. I'm a unicorn. Yeah.
And that's the thing is I think that people think that you can't have fun and be kind of irreverent on your streams and you have to be all like polished and professional and stuff like that. But I think live streams is like one of the really authentic, I know it's hard to say this while you're literally a pineapple next to me, but I'm saying where you can be your most authentic self. Like you don't have to edit out all the stuff. You can say the normal sayings that you're going to say. You're going to have the same personality that you normally would if you're having a real conversation with people. And I feel like live streams are that way to really get to know a person, because what you see on a Sunday when they publish or something is like the polished highlight version. And, oh, you look like a baby. And what you get on like a live stream is like their real personality. So like when you watch me on a live stream, you see that I have like this squirrel brain that just descends into madness at any given time for anything that I'm distracted by. And you wouldn't know that if you look at some of my videos on a Sunday. You know what I mean? So like I always love a live stream because I feel like it's the most authentic way to see people, and also watch them either freak out or handle with grace when things go wrong, because inevitably things will go wrong. It always happens that way. So, all right. So I'm going to say thank you so much for hanging out with me. Where can people find you if they want to hang out with you?
You can find me on one of my two YouTube channels, Studio Capon or Eugene Capon. If you want to hit me up and actually get a reply, I would say Twitter is the best option. Twitter.com.
Yeah, you're pretty like active on Twitter.
Capon Design. And then I have a speaking engagement website where you can get like insights and, you know, booking for speaking gigs or whatever, called hightechinfluencer.com. Also, that ebook is there.
That's awesome. And I do have, I'm pretty sure in the top couple lines down below, I have both of his YouTube channels linked below. So if you guys want, go down there and click and you will be able to go straight to his YouTube channel. Pew, pew, finger guns. Pew, 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 pew. Is there any particular snap lens that you want to use to sign off?
Oh,
you don't have to. I was just giving you the option.
No. Oh.
If you guys like this stream, also make sure you share it with a friend that actually might want to see this kind of information and give it a thumbs up. You're a shroom.
I'm a magic mushroom.
You're a magic mushroom. Is that how you want to go out? You want to go out as a magic mushroom? Come on now, you're a fun guy. You're a fun guy. See what I did there? See what I did there?
I did see what you did there. So funny.
All right. So I'm going to say from this side of the camera, and from Eugene, from myself, thank you so much for hanging out with me. If you like this video, make sure you like, subscribe. Channel memberships are also available for people who want to get more out of this channel. That includes private live streams and cool emoji stickers when you're in the chat. So there's all that info. I'm finding it really hard to stay professional while you're a magic mushroom next to me. So we're going to say thank you very much for hanging out with us. And I will see you on Sunday for another regular video and on next Thursday for another Triple T Thursday. Thanks, everyone. Say bye, Eugene.
Bye.